Here we go, guys. Did HUD, Director of HUD is not playing. The president is not playing with this. All this money going out to undocumented and illegal migrants is using this, and they're going to put a block this. I think they got a 30-day something about a 30-day review going on. If if you're not out of this, they're going to be shutting down housings and Section 8 programs if you're not complying to the federal rules, because it's a federal program. So without further ado, I'm gonna react to this video. I think he has a lot of good information I want to pass to you guys on my channel. Let's reaction video. I really appreciate this. I come watch this video. He has a lot of knowledge. Let's react to this together. I haven't looked over it that much, a few minutes, but let's go together. Here we go.
All right, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing some breaking news. The White House and HUD have gotten together and determined that within 30 days, every PHA must comply and give a report of all documented and undocumented people that reside in Section 8 housing. We don't have a total confirmation of numbers because the audit won't be complete for 30 days, but to say the least, HUD and the White House are going to remove everybody that's undocumented from the Section 8 properties that they live in, okay? So let's talk a little bit about how all this might have happened and what the true numbers really are. So at present, there are 108,000 people across the U.S. that are living under other people's vouchers. So they're here illegally, they're moving in with a family member that is legally here, and so that's the loophole right there. That's going to be closed in 30 days, okay? Second to that, I want to talk about the numbers. Now, it's when you think of this, you think of it kind of like an underground railroad. We're allowing people to stream into the country, and they're utilizing their family members' vouchers, and then they're hiding out in the home, basically, as an undocumented person in the U.S. Now,
See, that's amazing, guys. That's what I'm talking about. I'm up here in Washington. We see this often. I was wondering how these big families come in, they all live in there, and they got this cheap Section 8 housing, and then they got 10 adults in there. And I'm like, then I'm looking at some, I'm like, it's more like your family members. But what they do is, like this guy's going to explain a little bit, they move there, save their money for like a few months, and about 8 of them out of the 10, they come together and they buy a house. Think about it. If you're saving $4,000 a month times 8, 8 times 4 is $32,000. You got $32,000 months times 3 months. That's almost 100 grand. You can get it, man. You're gonna get a loan. You can get a home easy. And that's how they move in these big old houses, and then they spread out and get their own room, two to the room now. They do the same, repeat the same thing, and they stick with when somebody gets Section 8 housing or something, and they keep on. He's going to explain in detail how this works. So just pay attention to what you got to say. It's crazy.
housing authority cannot legally give the voucher holder more money, but what the housing authorities have been doing on the cool, well, nobody knows, is simply this. They're going to charge the person with the voucher that's legally here. When they add 5 or 6 more people into the home, what it does is a couple things. One, it allows the voucher holder to go and collect more rent. So they go around, they collect rent from family members that are illegally here, and then that money then is used to be able to rent larger properties. Let's think about this in logical terms. Most Americans are struggling out here to get, to be able to get a voucher and then to be able to find a property. The interesting thing is most homes that are built for low-income people are 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 bedroom, right? For families. So when we have 100,000 people abusing the system, what happens is in the rental market, when we get into 4, 5, and 6 bedroom homes, these are not simple and basic homes. It allows one person with a voucher to have all these people move in the house, and then of course they cannot give federal funds over to pay for that big home. So they allow basically the voucher holder to collect monies or rents from all the people in the house. But here's the shitty part, in my opinion. When you get in 4, 5, and 6 bedroom homes, what you have is it allows them to go and live in some of the largest luxury homes in almost in any city. So if I'm a legitimate American, born here, I've got a voucher, and I allow 11 different family members to move into my home. They're all illegal, and that will allow us to go out and rent a 12-bedroom home. Look, when you get into 4, 5, 6, 7 bedrooms and even higher, these are luxury homes. Okay, they were never designed for anybody low income, so they benefit. Not only that, while the housing authority does not permit them specifically to give money, extra money for all those people, it does allow that person basically collect rents from the persons in the room, as a business almost, and then it allows them to move into luxury homes. And in LA, there's a case where you got a family with undocumented workers, and they're getting a rent standard of $6,000. Okay. Not only that, but while the housing authority is not going to give out any additional federal funds for them to rent that big home, it allows them. The fact remains they're able to get a higher standard. In other words, they're being permitted to move into larger luxury homes, and so that becomes a problem. So
So what he's saying here is like, think about your community, like you're in Bellevue, Washington, and that's a upper affluent area. It's expensive over there. Kirkland is like expensive. It's basically like Bellevue is like the on the Monopoly board, Park Place, Boardwalk, and Kirkland is like the Pacific Union, the green on the expensive side, but not as expensive there as Bellevue, but it's neck to neck. Then you have Redmond, and so you have this area over here where it's an affluent area, and what they're doing is they're renting these using their 608 house. I noticed I heard these stories where they would go into these Section 8 houses, apartments, get their Section 8 voucher. Once they get their voucher, they stay there for 6 months to a year. They'll go and find a house and have Section 8 approve it while they're in the Section 8 housing. While in apartments, they have people living there. Like, let's say you have a two-bedroom. I'm going to give you an example. You have a two-bedroom. They'll put two-bed bunk beds in the room, each room. And you'll have 8 people in there, 8 adults in there, two in each bed. And then you'll have the living room, and they'll have their bed in there, like the family room, and they put it like a curtain or something, the section it off, and that's how they would live, literally. Like the bed in the living room would be turned to a beautiful couch. They would have a beautiful couch, but it's really a bed, and that they're breaking down, and the proprietor of the Section 8 voucher would sleep there, but would rent the rooms out, and they would charge like, let's say, $600 or $800 a month to rent the room. Like if you're in a more affluent area, you're charged more like $800 for a room, a shared room. And so now you get $800 times four in one room and four in another room. So you have $3,200. You have $3,200 coming in. You have $6,400 coming in a month, literally, and you haven't paid part of utilities. Now that $6,400 they have in a month that coming in, their Section 8 houses, like, let's say, $300. They're pulling in 6,000 some dollars. And then they have them pay for utilities too. Like, they also, okay, I'm gonna charge one of you guys $100 on utilities, just a month for your utilities. So 4 and 4, that's $800 on utility. Utility bill, like, because the Section 8 houses, they reduce the utility bill because it's a poverty housing, supposed to be Section 8 housing, so they reduced the bill. So now they're paying like 100 some dollars, but they got 12, 13 people in there living in there, and so it throws the whole system off. And now they'll save their money for like 3 months, and then they'll move into a bigger house with a 4 bedroom or 3 bedroom, and then they'll do the same, repeat the same things over and over again. And then they just keep building and building. And then it's all a game, it's all the hustle. Then the Section 8 houses, once they get there, like these nonprofits that run Section 8, they would get them. And you can imagine what they do. They would do the same similar thing on a different level. And then they'll pay that house off. They get another loan on that building, and build another building or get another building and do the same thing over. So it's a big pyramid, inverted pyramid scheme that was happening. So, and then the government gets in, they can see all this. So they're changing all this as narrative, and we're seeing it's going to be a major change. So all these hiding people, and it says 100 undocumented people in there. That's undocumented. But imagine how many that's undocumented, that's not known, that's come and go, to move around. So it's amazing. Let's continue here. What you got to say?
As a mandate by HUD and the White House, every housing authority must comply within 30 days, which that clock is ticking down. They've got to report all undocumented persons. Those persons will be removed from Section 8 housing. They can no longer reside in anything that utilizes a subsidy, low-income housing, or a voucher. And once that information is reported, I would imagine that this administration might also choose to essentially storm the home, which means that the person with the voucher would likely have federal agents come over there, and then there would be a process of deportation. So let's take a look at the big numbers here. We're talking about 108,000 people. So if we did some deductive math reasonably, and we went to the airport, and the average international flight can hold 150 to 200 people, and we consider deportation, there are roughly 45,000 flights around the country on a single day basis. The country would need to rent every airplane in the United States for an entire day to move out 108,000 people. Every plane that with a capacity of 150 to 200 would be rented for the entire day. So we're talking about tens of thousands of airplanes and deportation. So secondary effects here are going to roll to those that are legally here but not U.S. citizens yet or not born here. Under the administration's plan, you will no longer be prioritized, period. Okay? So you may be legally here from another nation and you're working towards American citizenship. The administration has made very clear that you will be deprioritized. You will be considered the lowest priority in terms of Section 8 housing, vouchers, and subsidies. So if you're becoming an American and your goal is to move to the country and then jump into Section 8 housing to utilize the system or its food stamps, it is highly unlikely that this HUD or the housing authority local to you in your city that your weight would be extraordinary compared to any other person that's likely born in the country. Okay, so
I agree with that because I've seen so many people do this in the community. Listen, I'll cut hair, I'm a barber, and I just shake my head, man, because it's so hard for Americans like me. I'm like, you sitting here telling me the government's giving you all these programs and everything. How are you getting it? You supposed to come to this country. You should be working hard as hell to get to where you need to go. Because we're in here first. We should get them benefits. If you don't get a benefit, get them out to the Americans so we can elevate the American people up. And what's left, you guys can struggle and get it because it shouldn't be given to people that's not from this country. Period. Off the top, you should. These it's an illusion. It's very disrespectful. We're paying taxes. The taxes come from the American citizens, and now it's being leveraged over to other people that's coming. We want to help everybody, but there's a process you should go through. And what happens is when you got people that's not really from this country or don't have a vested interest in this country, have a vested interest from where they're from. They're mad at their country, whatever they leave, whatever poverty, whatever. That's none of my business. But when you actually live in this country and you come here to live here in the state, you should become an American citizen. But they don't have the ideology. They wasn't raised, born. They don't have it. They come here to get what they can get. Period. And I understand that. But when the government works towards the American citizens, that's when it become a problem, and that's what's happening. So I think this administration will be coming in and just really addressing what's already on the books, not changing things, but addressing what's on the books and putting things back in order. And so that's going to shift. You're on the lower. You're not going to be less than, but you're on the lower level of the list because you what we have seen in the last years are the type to bring your countrymen in, your relatives in, your people in, and put them on the program, and then turn around and elevate yourself up and have them elevate you, and it becomes and build out the community and take over community, and then we'll give the American citizens a chance to elevate their self and their families. So because you got all the support by the government. that we can't get. So that's the problem. And I like what he's written right now about that issue. So I'm trying to get more clarity on that.
They're prioritizing Americans first,
Americans
and
first.
they will have the highest priority. And then those that are legally here but not American citizens or becoming American citizens would have the lowest priority. So that's a big changes. In addition to that, the administration will do their finish their accounting. Any housing authority that fails to cooperate will be defunded, and that will be the end of that housing authority in its funds. Housing authorities rely almost 100% on federal funds. If they don't want to report the data, then they have to close their doors, and then they're out of business. Okay. For those
See, that's right there. I listen to a lot of these people talking, these nonprofits talking all this housing agencies like we're not going to do it, we're not going to do it, we're going to do it. They give us funding, but they don't give us all the funding. The reality is, he's telling you the reality. uh, and you get a lot of funding, more funding you think from the federal government. It might come in different forms. It might come with the state title, but then who's getting what is they getting their money at? They're getting it from a piggy bank, from some kind of form that comes from the federal government. So now that you're being exposed to this, you might want to pump your brakes and slow down and get back in line. Understand if the government is doing something, it's doing it for a reason. It's doing check and balances for the American people, and that's what we need. So all that previous belief and mentality and what you're going to do and don't lose your job, don't get put in jail, do not risk your freedom for some ideology. uh, uh, Respect the law. I respect everybody. I respect immigrants, not undocumented immigrants, but I respect the law the most. So just remember that before you just jump off the porch or jump out the tree and hurt yourself. Be very careful. Be mindful.
that are on a voucher and you have several undocumented workers or whatever it may be in your home, the administration is you're going to need to make some changes. So effective immediately, the administration is going to require housing authorities to demote you. You have one voucher, you're one person legally here. You'll need to move out of that 6-bedroom home and then find you a 1-bedroom apartment, okay? You'll no longer be able to permit to be in a luxury home anymore. That's over with. So, in addition to that, by you hosting or harboring illegal immigrants, you're also inviting federal agents into your home. You can be arrested, charged with civil or criminal activity for allowing that. Same thing for housing authorities and its employees being complicit in this effort to do so, which means that once this data is out, they will know who lives where and is undocumented. You should expect that there will likely be a ring at the doorbell, followed by probably a flash bomb and a lot of people getting arrested in your home. If you are undocumented or you're hosting undocumented people in your home, I advise you to report to the PHA, your public housing authority, give them the information that they request, remove those people out your home. You'll need to request a new voucher, and only those that actually are legally here in the U.S. May be get that. That's the only number of rooms you'll be able to get. So if you and your husband are legally here and you're an American citizen, then you will get a 2-bedroom voucher. So you'll need to move down from the 6-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay.
And that's a good thing. They're being mindful. They're checking the balances. There's no way the person have a person on 68 houses. 68 houses supposed to get you onto your feet. 1 or 2 years to get on your feet, get a career, start to go to a training program, and then get through, get a job, save some money up, then go into regular housing. It wasn't supposed to be forever, but people are using it like it's forever, and they're manipulating it. Using people getting like this guy just said, 6-bedroom house, and it's just you or you and your husband. No, you need a 1 bedroom. You don't need a 6 bedroom. Well, I got this. I don't care what you got. This voucher's for a 1 bedroom. You're one couple, 1 bedroom, 2 adults. Like go get a hotel room, 2 adults, 1 bed. Unless you get 2 beds in the one room or one room. So this had to be checked. This is good. This is golden. This is needed. And you housing undocumented people, you're taking chances. You're making it hard on everybody around the board. So that's fine. If that's what you want to do. That's as American or as a person that's trying to become American. That's green card. Be careful. Mind you, be careful.
That's not going to be permitted after this. Those in non-compliance or those that think this is a joke, in about 30 days, once this administration has that data, you can try to rectify this and then see whether or not you can possibly remain in the country. But more than likely, if you remain in that apartment, everybody will lose. In addition to that, they can impose additional rules, which could ban you or kick you out the system for allowing undocumented workers to remain in your home after this period. I would imagine that October 1st will be the timeline, and it'll take them a bit of time to review that data, but after that, you'll be complicit in violating federal rules. Voucher, legally here or not, if you're going to host or underground railroad people that are not legal in this country, then you will face deportation. So, again, we're probably looking at around 100,000 people that may face deportation. If you are legally here, but you're not an American citizen and were not born here, you will no longer be a priority in Section 8 system, which means that in the end, you will be last considered on the list for any type of housing. For those of you that are legally here that are born in the U.S., you should expect to release probably around 30,000 new vouchers to flood back into the market to be available to you. This will probably loosen up roughly, 15 to 30,000 homes, larger homes for families that are American citizens.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Um, this is reality. It's time. So I'm telling you guys on Section 8, all these undocumented people that's getting benefits from Section 8 housing, people that's all my fellow liberals that's in conducive with this process, got relationships, got children, got all this stuff, got, hey, be careful. It's coming. Don't mess up with your benefits and lose them over an emotion. Everybody know what they did. Everybody know where they at. We're all young. We're all adults. So be mindful of what you're doing and where you're moving to and how you're moving, because this is serious now. This is very serious. The administration is not playing. President Trump is not playing. His administration, they're gonna make this happen, and it's gonna be a wrap. And all that fun good times gonna be gone. I wish you the best. Let's listen furthermore.
Which will alleviate some pressure. Is not since housing authorities never did actually give out money, additional monies or federal funds to families that had mixed use. We're not going to get that much savings in money, but it will allow more Americans effectively through the holiday season to be able to rent a lot of new properties that have been held up. So there's a lot taking place here. The critical thing we need to remember is we're still talking about humans, okay? And while I don't agree with either party, I like a little bit of what's happening here for the American population. You go anywhere, any other country on the planet, including the Netherlands, you've got to follow the rules of the land. In addition to that, there's another topic that's quickly becoming breaking news, and that's the fact that this administration now requires that all people that want to participate or even utilize anything in the federal system, you must be able to speak, read, and understand English. They will not translate anything anymore, okay? So if you cannot speak English, if you cannot read it, you can interpret it, then most federal agencies, including housing, are not going to assist you.
I think that's a good thing because there's so many people coming from the world saying, "Speak my language." It was so disrespectful. This is American country. This country was settled and created by Europeans, by American whites. Uh, that's the truth. The U.S. government, the U.S. military. So, in that niche, you got to speak English. And now that once the administration has deemed this is an English-speaking country, well, we everybody knew, intellectual people, educated people, basically with basic common sense, that this is an English-speaking country. But you have so many people coming here begging and then get here and then change all the way up when they got here and be like, no, you speak my language. I need my language here. And they learn all this stuff. And now we're redirecting, recorrecting this behavior. And now, if you don't, hey, you're out of there. When I traveled around other countries, I had to speak the language, or I got an interpreter, or I stayed where I can have an interpreter speak for me. But I understand that. I'm not for or against it, I'm not against it, but I understand. So I wish the best. This is now is mandated by law that you must read, speak, and write English. Um, I agree with that. If this is an English country, I know where I'm going. I know the language. Then I have to deal with it, or I find another way around, like I find other countries. But I like this point you just made. What you think? Leave a comment, subscribe below, like, let me know.
Okay, unless you have a disability, they will no longer assist you in that factor. If you move to the Netherlands, they require you to speak their language, and when you go through their system, you need to be able to read their language as well. We're the only country probably in the world that allows people to move here and not speak one word of English. Okay, now I want to make also clear that you, everybody out here, needs to consider one thing. We're not just addressing people from South America and Mexico and South America, of course. I'm talking about people from everywhere: Russia, China, India, everybody, okay? So if you're sitting here and you're an Indian family and you're hosting members that aren't in this country legally, they're going to get deported, okay? This information is about 30 days out from getting the White House. Once the White House has this information and they understand who's in your home, they will come and visit you and take these people, okay? If they are here legally, then that's a different story. But if you're using your voucher and you're putting people that aren't American citizens that are legally here on your voucher, you're asking for your voucher to be demoted. In other words, your voucher and the amount that you get will be worth less because you're no longer going to be prioritized. So the goal, I believe, by the administration is to focus solely on those that are United States citizens, okay? And while it may not be fun and it's a hot topic, that is the reality of what this administration wants at present. We will see a sweeping changes and probably a lot of breaking news coming up as we approach October 1st. But I'm just giving you some last and final warnings. When October 1st gets here and the administration has the data on all the immigrants that are on these vouchers, they will come and visit. And if they're still at home, then likely you will be arrested, you'll be detained by ICE, and then you'll be flown out to wherever it is they fly people, which can include South America, back to prisons. They can be little islands around Africa. They've been talking about.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna end on this when he's sincere. He's giving this warning, and I like this one. I watched this a little bit of this, and I'm like I seen his other previous one, HUD, and the Trump administration is serious, man. I'm warning every all Americans. I know you might have emotional ties to this situation, be that you have undocumented people in your home or in your community. I know a lot of documented people move around here. DACA people know some of their relatives. That's not know, but I see people. I'm like, okay, you're undocumented. I know they can't be documented. So they could be, but more likely they're not. But it's not. This is before when this new administration came in. I think it's good. He's doing things for Americans and put Americans first. I agree with that because I'm American in this country. If I go to other country, I respect the rules. I know their citizens come first in their country, so I respect that. Um, so without further ado, this is the one October 1st. It's going to be a whole ball game. You don't want to be kicked out in the wintertime, dude. Not in America, not in North America. This is not South America. This is not Central America. This is North America. It gets cold up here in the wintertime. And you don't want to be in one of these major spaces, especially up here in Washington. We don't have that much, but we have some snow sometimes. It gets cold up here sometimes. And it's like this is going to be a winter cold one this time because we had a really hot weather, nice mild weather. So, hey, you take these warnings clearly. Get serious. It's not a game anymore. The president is serious. The administration is serious. The HUD is serious. The guy came on from the director of HUD. He came on and talked about this. And so it's getting out there. I just want to get this breaking news, let you know this is going down, regardless of how you feel or what you like or what you think. Don't buy these dreams they're trying to sell you. We're going back to law and order. We are law and order now. You got to understand, law and order ain't about your emotion, what you feel, you know. People can tell you. Talk to people that's undocumented that's been here and came across that border 2 or 3 times over the last 20 years. They'll tell you it was different before this administration, and they probably already told you. Now we're back to what they had to go through the first time to get here. Now we're back. We're back, and it's real. It's real. So I warned you. Don't play with this administration. Don't waste your time. Um, wish you the best. Wish you much success. Whatever, however you fall on that, the pendulum as undocumented or citizen, non-citizen, illegal, non-illegal, and whatever it is, be mindful. This is not a game. Take all the advantages of all your opportunities while you're in this land. But it's about Americans first, about us first now, and I respect it. You know, I don't have no problem with no one, no human being on this planet. I wish you the best, but when you make decisions that cause you to put yourself in a position, that was a choice you made. I'm not saying right. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm saying law and order. Our laws to go through the administration, immigration this way. I'm not here about work, this, that, community, none of that. This is America, first and foremost. That's the community. And I hear people talk about where they throw the word around so loosely, community. America is the community. American citizens in all 48, 50 some states, but 48 in the lower 48 states, we're all one union, United States of America. That's the community, American citizenship, the Constitution. And I think everybody play these words and use these words loosely. I wish everybody the best. Be mindful, October is coming, and it's not a game. HUD, be mindful. Uh, Housing authorities, be mindful. Public housing authorities, be mindful. Do not go against this administration. The administration sticking to the law and order. And some of y'all might end up in jail if you keep fighting against the law. Period. I wish you the best. Wish you number success. God bless you. See you in the next video. It's crazy, guys. It's going to get crazy out here. This is a fair warning. Fair warning. Warning, warning. We're not playing a game anymore.